Oh, no,
That
no.
came in the third one.
That's
This
the third
one
one. My bad.
is when like the little ones came out and they could like walk on land.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And yeah, whole new ball game, whole new goddamn ball game, which is my favorite line in the film.
It's one of my favorite fucking lines.
And they also find out in this film that if you hide your body heat, they can't sense you because they found out that they hunt by sense. Like the ones underground hunt by vibration. The ones that can walk on land, they see you almost like the predator sees you.
Yeah.
You know, you light up red. So if you drop your body temperature, like, let's say you spray yourself with a fucking extinguisher or something and cover it up, they can't see you.
Right, you drop your body temperature, they can't see you.
Right.
You an ugly motherfucker.
Great film. Anyway, coming in at 123 is from 1959, and it is House on Haunted Hill.
I really like that movie. I actually like the remake. I thought the remake was pretty dope.
Yeah, House on Haunted Hill is Vincent Price. Him and his wife throw an old party, and these people are coming out, and it's almost like a competition between the two to scare the hell out of
the people that are there.
Yeah.
It's almost like a game.
Yeah, it's almost like a game, and, it's, the remake actually goes, further with it and actually makes it actual ghost.
Yeah.
But this one I like a lot better because it's one of those. It's a practical thing. It's one of those things. See, you don't find out until the end that, hey, this is all just kind of bullshit that people's rigging up. But I don't know. I've always liked it, probably because Vincent Price. Vincent Price is one of those actors where he can play in like a real shitty movie, and you still remember his performance from it because
he makes a shitty movie better.
Yeah, he's so distinct and like, he has that voice.
It's like Don Knotts. If Don Knotts is in a bad movie, like he makes it better.
Yeah.
Like even if the movie's not that great, it's great because Don Knotts is in it.
Coming in at number 122 is from 1980, and it is The Changeling. This is one
great movie, very underrated.
Very, very underrated. It's George C. Scott plays in this film. It's your take. It's a different take on your haunted house or haunted type of movies. In an era where we literally have 200, 300 fucking haunting movies, it's hard to stand out. The Changeling does that, and the reason why it does that, again, much like what we talked about Vincent Price, the performance level. If George C. Scott didn't play in this film and give the performance that he did, this film wouldn't nearly be as memorable as it is. Because of his acting and his facials, like something so simple, like he makes it like so profound, like he's looking and he's got that look on his face, and you're like, yeah, what the fuck is it?
Yeah. It's like when somebody's looking at something and you're like, what the fuck are you looking at? What the fuck is he looking at?
Yeah, George C. Scott's one of my favorite actors, and I wish he'd done more horror films. He was more of like a respectable actor, I guess that's what you call him, making war movies and shit like that. But
yeah,
he was awesome in this film. I wish he would have made more of these types of films.
You know what I kind of compare this one to is like The Exorcist 3.
Yeah, well, that's another George C. Scott movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm making the reference.
Yeah.
Because it's like Brad Dourif's performance in that movie. If it wasn't for him, that movie wouldn't have been as good as it was. I mean, it would have been great, but it wouldn't have been like up there.
Yeah. Number 121 from 2003, my favorite of the bunch, which is Final Destination 2.
Has ruined the back of tree trucks for everybody.
Yeah, Final Destination 2 took everything that people liked about the first one and upped the ante with more shock value, more characters, more gore, more everything in this film. And, Final Destination films are pretty unique, as in there's no boogeyman, there's no killer, there's no nothing. It's nature itself. It's
the natural death of life, or death
natural
itself.
selection is what it's referred to. Like, when it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
And it's almost like death has a
death
plan
always
for
wins.
you. And, well, they keep on making them, so you can cheat death. But it eventually comes around to get you.
I enjoy part 2 very much so.
There's another franchise. Like, people have their favorites, but I think for the most part, every Final Destination I've seen has been somewhat pretty fucking entertaining.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, I haven't seen a Final Destination movie where I was like, they are out of ideas, and this is bad.
Yeah. Like, you can look at each one of them, right? And you can be like, okay, this is the one with the NASCAR. That's the one with the airplane. That's the one with the swimming pool. That's the one with roller coaster, whatever the fuck. And it's like, they all, like, there might be a time period where they run all in your head together, but you can actually think of scenes, and you're like, oh, well, I like that one. And they go, and somebody goes, oh, well, that's part 4. And they're like, oh, yeah. The suntan bed one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that one. You know what I mean?
But they're so smart and brilliant in the franchise because they come up with these deaths that people can, like, relate to. And I've always been an advocate and said, if you can relate to anything in horror, it makes it that much more terrifying. And
yeah,
I think,
and the death scenes range from fairly simple to, like, complicated,
Exactly.
Like the train going by, and the air just happens to get caught and get that piece of metal and cut the guy's fucking head off.
Right.
Or,
the bathroom scene where, like,
he slips.
He slips and, like, it hangs around. That's more of a complicated scene.
Yeah.
Because of, like, everything that has to take place. Honestly, the part 2, speaking of it, the fucking tree trunk, not tree trunk, but the tree falling off the back of the lumber truck, like, it has fucked up the way everybody looks at those things.
Oh yeah, first of all, nobody wants to ride behind a truck that has freshly cut fucking trees in it, because honestly they're just laying there.
Yeah, it's
like they're just laying there. There's very rarely time that you'll see them tied together.
Yeah.
And even if they're tied together, they're tied on the side, and they could still slip diagonally back.
Yeah. And that movie, like, fucked that up for like, I think growing up, like, we always thought, that could happen, but then when you visually see, like, it fall off and go doo, 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 and then, like, they don't cut away when it goes through the window, like, it fucked up everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, coming in at number 120 is from 1980, and it's a little gem called Alligator.
I like Alligator. That's a pretty, I don't know if I like that one more than Lake Placid, though.
Oh, I like Lake Placid, but I like this one a lot better. This is about basically, they got a small little alligator for their kid, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger, and they flush it down the fucking toilet. And now it's roaming the sewage, like the sewers and shit, and it's eating all the bullshit that people flush down the toilet, so it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I like this one. The story to Lake Placid might be better, but this one, there's no CGI in it. It's practical effects, and that always wins me over. So They made a part 2 to this 10 years later. And actually, again, the way I kind of feel about Pumpkinhead 2 is kind of the way I feel about Alligator 2, The Mutation. It's kind of...
I was with you when you found that.
It's kind of corny. It's kind of... I don't know. It's memories. It's like, okay, I don't expect you to like this, but I do, so... Anyway, alligators, if Jaws is the sharks, then alligator is the alligator.
To alligators. Alligator, you're right.
Jaws is to sharks as alligator is to alligators. Yes.
I don't know why that's funny. Anyway, yeah. I think the best way I could, to me, the way I feel is that you got Alligators and Alligators 2, you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Great movies, slightly different a lot, but you still find enjoyment with them.
Oh, yeah. Coming in at number 119 is from 2003, another Rob Zombie entry, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Wow.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where it's so weird and it's so out of the box. The first time you watch it, you might not even like it, was my case. When I first watched it, I was like, what? But then the more I watched it, the more I realized that he was out to make just the craziest grindhouse type of fucking film that he possibly could make. And this being his first film, obviously, he would get better, but I think he did a terrific job. He created characters that a franchise was built around, which was never supposed to be.
No.
Memorable quotes. The dialogue in the film is fucking quotable. The characters in the film,
memorable.
Yeah,
iconic at this point.
And you realize that most horror films are about the victims and who's going to be left and how is the victim going to survive. But then you get those few horror films where it's literally about the killers and, that's all it's about. And it was shocking to find out that there were no survivors. The stars of this film is the fucked up family. It's not who they come across.
Which I actually have come to appreciate because
it's different.
I'm like you. I went and saw this in theaters. I did not like it when I saw it. Then I bought it, and the DVD version had Captain Spaulding. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you just let the screen play. And he's just sitting there fucking insulting you.
Yeah.
And I was fucking rolling. And I was like, man, I really like this character. And I watched it again. And the second time around, I was like, okay, I like this a little bit more. Watched it a third time. And I was like, I fucking love this movie. I don't know why I hated it at first. I guess because I didn't have an understanding of what Rob Zombie was going for, what he was trying to do. I guess I was expecting a traditional horror movie, and it's not a traditional horror movie in any aspect. And
in many ways,
that's why I think it is iconic as it is now, is because it's not a traditional horror movie. It goes out of the box.
Well, I think that's a lot of its appeal. I mean, and I think we all were expecting kind of a traditional horror film or whatever, but why? This was a hour and a half of a Rob Zombie music video. That's what it was.
Yeah, we should have known better.
Yeah. We should have known that there was going to be a fish boy or some shit like that.
Yeah, a fucking clown that sells chicken.
Right, and gasoline.
Gasoline and chicken. But yes, this is probably... I don't know, but one of the most quotable horror movies to me that I can remember. That maybe nightmare movies is on